Hey, fifth grade, welcome back to our math. We're working with geometry, and we have been talking about shapes, finding the different properties of shapes, finding the surface area of shapes was our last lesson. We've been talking about three-dimensional shapes and their parts. We had our different surfaces, the faces, the flat side of the shape. We had all of these corners and points. We called them something. Each one is a vertex, or when you have a lot of them, they are vertices, all of them. So then we had where the two faces join together. There's another word for that. This face and this face joining together. It's not the vertex, it's the edges where the sides join together like that. So I've got an edge around each shape. Well, sometimes you need to measure just those edges. So let's take this board. If I need to measure just the edges, just around the outside, what is that? Well, that's going to be the perimeter. When I'm measuring just the outside edges of a shape. If I wanted to know exactly how much space I had to write on this board, exactly how much space this chalkboard took up, that is the inside of a shape. So that is the area. The area is the inside. The perimeter is the outside. Three-dimensional shapes have a perimeter and they have an area too. A lot of times we're measuring the surface area, measuring the area of this side plus the area of this side plus the area of this side plus the area of this side, all the way around for that shape. Well, what happens when I want to know exactly how much space this shape takes up? I want to know exactly how much space it takes up if I'm building with bricks and I want to know exactly how much space each of those bricks takes up on that wall, or how big a building's going to be. I need to know more than just the length and the width. Area, we measure the length times the width and we find out that space, but I also have height here. I don't just have length and width, I have height. Now what do I need to do to measure that? I need to know the length, the width, and the height to figure out how much space this cube takes up. Exactly how much space is in it. Well, we're going to work with that today. That is called the volume of a shape. Not how loud the shape is, but exactly how much space it takes up. The length, the width, and the height of the shape. 3 levels. So because we're talking about 3 dimensions, we're talking about 3-dimensional shapes, we're going to be measuring them with cubic units. Units that have length, width, and height. I've got a shape for you that has length, width, and the height here is just 1, but it has length and width. Let's find the perimeter of the shape first. The perimeter, the distance around this shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 all the way around, 12 units around this shape for our perimeter. Well, what's our area? Our area is the inside space. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 square units. We're talking about squares now, filling up the inside. 8 square units inside. So my area was 8 square units and my perimeter was 12 units. Not squares, just units, measuring around the outside. Now, how much space does this take up? Well, we have a formula for that, something to make it easier to remember how to figure it out. I've got my volume is the length times the width times the height. So I can do my units, my length, which was 4, times my width, which was 2, times my height, which is just 1 unit. So 4 times 2 times 1 gives us 8. 8 units. Now we're talking about 3 measurements here. 3 measurements. So I'm going to say 8 units cubed. 8 cubic units. Because I'm talking about 3 things, 3 measurements, I want you to put a 3 in the air beside the number that you're writing down, beside your units. 3 cubic units, or units with a little 3 up in the air. 3 cubic units. What happens when our shape's a little bit bigger? Okay, now it's a little bit bigger. Now I've got my same length. My length is still 1, 2, 3, 4. Still 4. My width is still 2. Something's changed about the space that my shape takes up. But my perimeter would be the same. My area would be the same. But my shape now takes up more space. How do I measure the space it's taking up? The volume. Length times width times height. So we've still got our 4. 4 times 2 times 2 this time. Our height is 2 units. So 4 times 2 times 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So our volume is 16 units. What were we putting after it? That 3, cubed. 3 dimensions, length, width, and height. So 16 units cubed. All right, well, we're not going to stop there. Let's go ahead and add another one. Okay, so now I have 4 units this way, 2 units this way, but my height has changed. My perimeter is the same. My area is the same, but my shape takes up more space. Because it takes up more space, the volume has changed. So 4 times 2, we've still got 4 times 2, that's 8, times 3. Now my volume is 24 units cubed. I think you're understanding this concept and realizing that just because the perimeter and the area stay the same doesn't mean the shape takes up the same amount of space. We have to know exactly how much space it takes up. So let's try a different picture. Let's try this one. This one's in your book. Okay, let's measure this one together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 units for our length. Let's figure out our width. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 7 units for our length, 4 units for our width. How tall is it? 1, 2. So 7 times 4 for one area, that gives us 28, times 2. So we have 56 units. Now remember, we're using cubes, so 56 cubic units. That's going to be for this one. Now your picture is measured in feet, so you should be writing feet cubed. Remember to put that little 3 up in the air for it. Let's try the second one in your book. All right, let's count this one together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, our length in this one is going to be 5. Now, how tall is it? 1, 2, 3. And how wide is it? 1, 2, 3. Oh, the same height and width. So we're going to have 5 times 3 times 3. So 5 times 3, we have 15. Times 3, we have 45. So 45 units cubed. Now, in your book, this one's in centimeters. So this one should be 45 centimeters with that little 3 up in the air for it. Centimeters cubed. I want you to try the rest of these as you go through your page for 333 and 334. You're going to be seeing a lot of questions having you write in which one, perimeter, area, surface area, volume, for the definitions it gives. I want you to compare those definitions and see if you can identify what they go to. Match them up. That's going to be the whole second half of your page. It's just matching those definitions, reading the words and seeing which description best fits each of those names. As always, take a picture of your work, send it to me in our Google Classroom in a message or email. And if you need any help at all, let me know and I'll help you in any way that I can. Good luck!